Hello everyone, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with another tabletop video review for you guys. Today we're looking at the Umarex T4E TPM1 .43 caliber paintball pistol, and this is the tabletop review. Now this gun is available in our Canada and US online Replica Airgun stores in both the black slide version and blue slide version. Depending on when you watch this video may determine what we do and don't have in stock at the moment. So make sure to check out our Replica Airguns Canada and US stores over at replicaairguns.ca and replicaairguns.us. All right, let's get into the specifications. The TPM1 is a .43 caliber paintball pistol. It also shoots .43 caliber rubber balls, dust balls, pepper balls. You get the picture. It uses 12 gram standard CO2 cartridges, shoots in semi-auto with a blowback action. It has a metal slide and polymer frame, also some additional metal internal parts. It has an 8-round dropout full-size metal magazine that holds the CO2 and the ammunition. The Umarex T4E TPM1 weighs in at 532 grams, which is approximately 1.2 pounds. It does have a double action style trigger and has a claimed velocity of 290 FPS. Now in terms of what it looks like, this is Umarex's modified version of a Glock 17. Should fit into most Glock holsters and should feel and act similar to a real Glock 17. It does have yellow dot sights front and back. As you can see, it has that Picatinny tactical rail, which allows for accessory attachments like a laser or tack light. Now in the box, you're gonna get a manual, of course, right? Different instructions in here, how to load it, shoot it, different things. How to take out the spring. There's a spring that comes with it. I'll show you that in a second. You also get the case, but I'll show you that last. You get this baggie full of goodies, spring. So there's two springs. One is for the rubber balls and one is for the paintballs. The gray one for the paintballs, the black one for the rubber balls, but you can kind of mix and match them. You should be able to use kind of the gray one for pretty much everything. At least that's my experience. There's an extra little cap here just in case you lose the cap when you're trying to change the spring, because they kind of jump out of the gun when you open it up. You've got this cleaning tool here, which also kind of indicates you can put it in the actual barrel just to indicate that the gun is empty and it's not able to fire. Okay, so that's what you get there. Also the Allen key for tightening the CO2. I'll just show you that box or the case that it comes with really quickly here. So this is it here. Basically a case, right? You can lock it. Got your T4E, and then inside you're gonna have, of course, a nice foam-lined case. Hard plastic case, so great to have that for storage. And as I mentioned earlier, it does come in black slide versions and blue slide versions. Some people are gonna want the blue slide versions just to make sure everyone knows these are training guns, not real steel firearms. Again, this gun is distributed by Umarex, but it's manufactured by T4E, which stands for Training for Engagement. And this gun is primarily designed as a law enforcement and military training tool to recreate a safe training gun with as much precision and realism as possible. Let's compare the TPM1 to the Umarex T4E Smith & Wesson M&P 9 M2.0. Both of them kind of look the same. They're both basically paintball pistols, .43 caliber paintball pistols. They both have very similar magazines, which I'll show you more thoroughly when I get into the sort of walkarounds of the guns. Basically just different butt plates on them, but they're kind of the same. This one actually has some CO2 in it, as you can see. This one does not. I'll show you the magazines later in more detail. This is just more styled like a Glock 17, and this is more basically a replica. It's even licensed of an M&P, Smith & Wesson M&P. So that's really the only difference, is just the design, the outer design. The Glock version, or the Glock sort of simulated version, does have an actual working trigger safety. The Umarex one, or sorry, the Smith & Wesson M&P also does, but it's a different style, right? Okay, and I know on the TPM1 it is a working trigger safety, so that's nice. So just got your sort of different styles. That's really only the difference. They will function pretty much the same. Well, I got this guy out. Let's really quickly just show you the blowback action. Okay. I think we're almost out of CO2. A little bit left there. All right, let's get back to the T4E TPM1 and do that walk around for you. Now keep in mind, I haven't done the field test shooting video yet, but I will be following that up shortly. All right, let's get into the walk around for the T4E TPM1 and take a look at it a little bit closer. We'll just leave the magazine out for now. All right, so here we have the slide. Okay, nice textured slide. allow you easier racking of the slide, although it's not a very heavy spring, so it's not going to be that difficult. You got your model number there. You've got your polymer frame with your rail here, right? You have the working trigger safety, which actually works. You need to engage it. It does have this weird little doohickey that comes out. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but that's just the way it's designed. A real Glock doesn't do that. And just to kind of show you a real Glock, what it's kind of simulated to look like, you'll notice it doesn't have that little hole down there, but this is kind of what it's simulated to be similar to kind of hold like, to function like. Should be able to use probably similar holsters, I would imagine, especially if they're more generic holsters, they should fit. Okay, so you have your slide catch release right there. Okay, so it's gonna lock back when you're out of ammo. It locks back kind of halfway. It's not like full lock back. The slide doesn't go back as far as you'd normally expect. Full blowback action slide too. You do have textured grip with the T4E engravings right there, okay? You've got this, right? You got the mag well you can see right through. It does have a cutout ejection port. Your yellow dot sight on the front, right? Nice sort of texturing there. Yellow dots on the back, okay? Not a big fan of this writing on the slide. Should have been underneath, kind of like the Umarex Smith & Wesson was. I don't know why they changed it up in this case. I'm not really sure, but it is what it is. Okay. You do have that recessed barrel opening because it is a 4.43 caliber gun, so it's not even recessed, it's just the diameter of the barrel. That's just how it is. I don't know if you can see through it, the light, but not really, huh? But yeah, so, okay. Let's take a look at the magazine. So here we have our magazine. You've got your spring there, you've got your follower, which does lock out at the bottom, so you can load it up a little easier, put your ammunition in there, release it, right, to get at your CO2 right here, CO2 screw just for tightening it. If you pull this off further, you'll be able to get at your spring and change that out if you need to. Okay, CO2 obviously goes there. And it shoots, basically uses these two different size ammunition, so we have two different paintballs here. You notice the rubber ball is a little bit smaller. The actual paintball round, the orange one here, is a little bit larger in diameter. It seals up a little bit better, but it is also more, it's I guess, you know, it forms to the barrel a little bit easier, whereas the rubber ball, you don't want it, it's a little bit grip here, you don't want it sort of catching or getting stuck in that barrel or a lot of friction within the barrel, so it does fit a lot looser. Kind of wouldn't mind seeing different versions of these, maybe slightly larger, because you can see they are quite a bit different sized, right? It's not an optical illusion because of the color, but they are both .43 caliber, but they seem different in size. All right, let's put that back in. Not gonna field strip this because it's not easy to field strip. Pins and things have to be taken out in order to do so. All right, let's get into some of the pros and the cons. The gun feels good in the hand. It's got a decent weight to it. Not as heavy as a real steel Glock, but good enough. It's gonna feel decent in the hand when you're shooting it. You've also got that full metal slide that locks back on the last shot. You have that all metal, heavy full-size dropout magazine that adds some additional weight to the gun. That's gonna be good for Glock shooters looking for a similar training weapon, especially right now when we can't get out to the range so easily. And everything works pretty much like the real version of this gun. So again, it's great as a training tool. You've got those easy to see yellow dot sights front and back. And again, you have that working trigger safety, similar to what you'd find on a real steel Glock. The fit and finish on these T4E products is really good. And if you do find any issues shooting the .43 caliber rubber balls, you can switch up that spring. I believe it's just a little bit heavier than the actual paintball spring, just to help them feed in there a little bit better. And I like that .43 caliber barrel opening adds to the realism. All right, a few cons. The white warning lettering stands out a bit too much on the slide. Would have been nice if they would have put it underneath the trigger guard like they did with the Smith & Wesson version. And that magazine only holds 8 rounds, so compared to a real steel modern pistol that's a double stack magazine that's gonna hold 15, 16, or even more rounds, you're only getting about half the shots, so you're gonna wanna load up or at least get some extra magazines for this gun. And that blowback action is not full blowback. It's more like a typical half blowback BB gun, but at least you have blowback action to give you that simulated recoil feeling. All right, again, the Umarex TPM1 is available in both our Canada and US online replica airgun stores over at replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us for the US. We do have it in a black slide version and a blue slide version, so keep that in mind. If you're interested in other products, check out those stores for air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, pellet guns, and other accessories. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Username is Replica Airguns. I will be doing a follow-up field test shooting video for this gun, so stay posted. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.